Exonation, Diana West is my guest this hour. www.dianawest.net is her website. That's www.dianawest.net. Let's talk a little bit more about American betrayal. Is America being betrayed? And if so, by who?
Well, America is being betrayed and has been betrayed for decades by some of its most cherished leaders, by some of its most important figures. This was my conclusion after the several years of research I devoted that really suggested to me that the history we've been taught is so much fakery, is so much narrative. And I found great resistance. The reason you've mentioned my rebuttal, I found great resistance to challenges to the narrative that American Betrayal presents. But essentially what the book does, very quickly, is it combines intelligence history with the general history, with the general narrative that we all know, the sort of the front of the stage with the backstage, the spy story with the diplomatic story. And everything looks very different when you actually are able to interweave what the infiltrators were doing and how the influence they had on the front actions. And so it actually rewrites quite a lot of American history of the 20th century. Again, going back to the Roosevelt years, things look very different when you do put the two together. It's quite shocking, actually.
Tell me, who were the book burners?
The book burners were led by some people that are considered conservative gurus in America. David Horowitz, Ronald Reagan. These are former communists or radicals who became conservatives after Ronald Reagan's second election, his re-election. And they deeply... they launched essentially a smear campaign, which is why I had to write a whole book to defend myself.
Oh, my gosh.
It's probably a whole show in itself to try to get at the bottom of it. But it was essentially because what American Betrayal does, very, very simply, is it flips the reputation of Franklin Roosevelt, and it also casts new light on Senator Joseph McCarthy. These are the twin bookends, I would say, that it most affects. So it really changes the way everything looks when you go back.
You know, you and I over the past hour have been talking about the Russian connection in one manner or another. Here's a question for you, a very simple question. Is the Cold War still on?
Yes, I think it is. I think the Cold War is a misnomer, however. I think there were a lot of hot wars in between. But yes, the press of Marxism-Leninism continues, but the problem now is it is inside us. And this essentially is the lesson that I learned in my research. We have been transformed, and so what we see are a lot of remnants, in a sense, a lot of traditionalists of various, the Tea Party in America, for example, attempting to be reborn, attempting to regenerate something that has been taken from them, something that's been changed so deeply by this tremendously successful infiltration. I question whether we won the Cold War. I question whether we won World War II. Because you look at the map at the end of World War II, and you see the Soviet Union all over Europe, and you eventually see communism in the Orient as well, in Asia as well. So this doesn't look like victory to me, but it's a very complicated story.
Well, we'll have to have you back on so that we can talk more about this. But I do want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. To you and your family, a very happy Labor Day, and I hope you had a great weekend. And I look forward to the next time when you and I meet here in the X Zone. But before you go, we've got about 50 seconds. Tell our listeners how they can find out more about you and where they can buy your books.
Thank you. Well, DianaWest.net is where all of my columns and blogs are, as well as links to all of my books, which are available at Amazon and other fine booksellers. But I have all the information at my website, and that you can find everything there at DianaWest.net.
Diana, take care of yourself. Keep the great work up. It's been a pleasure and an honor talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now. Diana West, www.dianawest.net. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away.